All right, I want to give a shout out to Justice for All for sending me. He sent me an image, but I actually found an article to go along with this. These three right here are the ones who are responsible for the killing of Breonna Taylor, and as far as I'm concerned, the attempted killing of her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Now, one of these guys in this picture is one of the guys that Kenneth Walker has shot in the leg, in which they brought him up on the attempted murder charges. And we're going to get into that, and I'll identify which one that is as I read this article. So, their names are Jonathan Mattingly. It says a 47-year-old sergeant with 19 years on the force. Brett Hankinson, age 44, with 17 years on the force, and Myles Cosgrove, a 42-year-old detective with 14 years on the force. It says the three belong to the 3rd Division, of which Micah Shue is the division commander and are part of the department's criminal interdiction division. Heavy.com has reached out to the commander for comment on the case, and the story will be updated if a response is received. Jonathan Mattingly, who is the guy on the far left, that's the one who was shot in the leg by Kenneth Walker. I just wanted to put that out there before I got to that part. It says there are several officers with the last name Mattingly on the police department, including Officer Alex Mattingly, real-time crime center analyst Caitlin Mattingly, and Officer Brent Mattingly. It is unclear if any of these individuals are related to Jonathan Mattingly. During the raid, Mattingly was shot in the upper thigh and the bullet struck his femoral artery, according to local TV station WHAS 11. He underwent surgery on his leg and is expected to make a full recovery. Mattingly injuries inflicted by Walker during the raid are the basis of the attempted murder charges against Kenneth Walker. Now, isn't it amazing? They were quick to throw attempted murder charges on Kenneth Walker when they came into the wrong house. Mind you, they already had the person they were looking for in custody before they went to this house. So they just went out there just to go out there. That's why I said at the end of my video, I would not be surprised if they were targeting Kenneth Walker, and in the midst of all of that happening, Breonna Taylor ended up dead, and she was just a casualty. Because if I'm not mistaken, I heard that 8 out of those 22 bullets that were shot in that house, 8 of them hit her. It says Mayor Greg Fisher told Wave News that Walker's prosecution will go forward, and a special prosecutor will be appointed to investigate the Public Integrities Unit investigation once it is completed. So they're still trying to put this guy. They're still trying to put this guy in jail for defending his home and trying to defend his girlfriend. Isn't the American justice system, isn't it just so grand? Let's see. The next person, Brett Hankinson, who was the one on the far end. Hankinson and his K9 Franklin received a commendation for giving a demonstration to students in October 2017. Oh, who cares about that? Let's see here. Let's get to the good stuff. It says, however, Hankinson has also been named in 2 lawsuits. On May 25, 2012, Hankinson and roughly 20 other police officers were named in a lawsuit filed by Leon Brackens. In court filings, Brackens' lawyer alleged that Brackens was getting a ride from a woman named Rhonda Sullivan, who led Indiana and Kentucky police on a car chase. During that chase, Brackens dialed 911 twice, and during both calls said he was scared to death and didn't want to die. However, for reasons that are not apparent from the record, LMPD dispatcher said Brackens was the threat and the primary suspect. At the end of the chase, dashcam video showed Brackens being taken down to the ground by several officers and handcuffed. Sadly, the record reads, Brackens suffered fractures on his left femur and left humerus during the incident. Brackens alleged that he was a victim of police brutality and false imprisonment. Well, if I didn't know that Leon Brackens was black just based on his name, just the part when he said police brutality pretty much let me know right then and there what he identified as. Let's see. He victim of police brutality and false imprisonment. It is unclear what role Hankinson played during the pursuit or arrest of Brackens, but he was eliminated from the lawsuit more than a year before its conclusion. In October of 2019, Hankinson was the subject of another lawsuit brought up by Kendrick Wilson. I already know that person is black, who sought $15,000 from Hankinson and alleged that Hankinson violated his federal rights in an ongoing vendetta. In court filings, Wilson's lawyer said he and Hankinson first met in 2016 when Hankinson arrested him for a bar fight. The lawsuit alleged that after that, Mr. Wilson in various interactions with defendant Hankinson, including over a relationship with the same woman, however, none led to an arrest. Wilson said when he walked by Hankinson in June of 2018, Hankinson said his canine Franklin alerted to a narcotic odor from Wilson's jeans. According to the plaintiff's interpretation of the body cam footage, Wilson took money out to show his pockets, put the money back in his pockets, and turned to walk away when Hankinson grabbed him and the other LMPD officers appeared to detain him. The case from that arrest is still pending. In the meantime, however, Wilson said Hankinson arrested him again, and according to the lawsuit, Hankinson can also be seen in the same video taunting Mr. Wilson's girlfriend, telling her to put this on social media and telling her that he was planting dope again. Then in the month he filed his lawsuit, Wilson said LMPD narcotics officers searched his car and the barbershop he owned, which the lawsuit alleges led to the destruction of walls, carpet, vents, and doors. Only a legally registered handgun and ID cell phone were discovered. Now, just listen to all that on that this person on the far end. This guy just screams racist. All the people from the stuff that I'm reading, seems to me he was targeting black men. Who was, in my opinion, a target in this recent incident? A black man by the name of Kenneth Walker. Let's move on to the third guy who is in the middle, whose name is Myles Cosgrove. The Courier journalist Myles Cosgrove, as a police academy graduate, November 19th, 2005. Roughly 1 year after his graduation, Cosgrove was sued by then 57-year-old Arthur L. Satterley, who ended up in critical condition after Cosgrove shot him. According to court records, Cosgrove first encountered Satterley in the middle of December when he suspected the driver of being drunk. He saw the car again 2 days before Christmas and tried to pull Satterley over at a Speedway gas station at about 12:45 a.m. As Cosgrove began approaching the car, he claims that Satterley put the car in reverse, and in response, Cosgrove broke the driver's side window. Cosgrove alleged that Satterley then tried to run him over, so he fired 11 shots in the driver's side door, hitting Satterley multiple times. Satterley was then later charged with wanton endangerment, fleeing police, illegally operating a vehicle, and illegal possession of drug paraphernalia. Satterley's lawyer, David Major, told Wave News that the wanton endangerment charge against Satterley was nonsense. Satterley accused Cosgrove of using excessive force and filed a lawsuit. However, U.S. District Court Judge Charles R. Simpson granted Cosgrove motion for a summary judgment, which effectively dismissed Satterley's case. So all of these guys right here have some kind of checkered past, but definitely the last two that I mentioned, they really didn't dive too deep into the guy who was shot, but the last two have a very shady past in this department, and they did all of that and was still able to work there. But then again, look at where it happened at. It happened in Clantucky. And I've done plenty of videos talking about Clantucky over the years. Let's see here. This says new evidence shows a no-knock warrant was used and Taylor was not the investigation's target. I think we pretty much already went over that. I talked about that in the beginning. They already had the person in custody that they were looking for, but they just went in there and decided to go anyway. That's why I truly believe that Kenneth Walker was a target for something. They had to have probably a run-in with him. And they said, we're going to go and get this, you know what? And in the midst of all of that, not only did they not get him because he's still alive, unfortunately, he's behind bars as far as we know, but killed his girlfriend in the process. That's why when I did that video, I said something here is not making any sense. And then when I saw the comments after the fact and said that they already had the person they were looking for, I said, okay, now it makes sense. They targeted this guy. But unfortunately, his girlfriend, Breonna Taylor, was a casualty of it. Good thing they didn't have any small kids in there, because what if the child woke up and got scared and they turned around and shot the child? But they're sticking the whole attempted murder charge onto him because he shot the cop in the leg. But nothing is going to... I'm almost guaranteed that probably nothing is going to happen to these cops. Look at their track record that I just read to you for years, and nothing has happened to them. I tell you, that blue wall is a high and thick wall, and it's a mighty wall too. Like, you can't penetrate through that thing. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one. I just wanted to come back on here and add this little piece in there because this is something I actually found out about, and I'm glad I found out about it before I uploaded the video, because this is the day after. So now what I'm about to tell you, this is all just something that's being reported. I don't think there's a confirmation behind it, so it could just be speculation, but it might actually be true. Hopefully it is. So this is the cop right here that I talked about in the first part of the video, the one that got shot in the leg allegedly by Kenneth Walker. Well, it's being reported that the gunshot wound did not come from Kenneth Walker's gun. They're saying it was friendly fire from another cop. That could actually be true, because you got to think, it was more of them in the house than it was for Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker was the only one on the defense who had a gun. As far as we know, Breonna Taylor was probably killed while still in the bed, most likely. If this is indeed true and they can actually prove this, and it shouldn't be that hard, because Kenneth Walker has had a different gun compared to what the cops had. Different guns hold different rounds, different size rounds. All they got to do is compare the bullets, which one entered into this guy. And the thing is, they never specified if it was an exit wound or not. And if it wasn't, they need to find a way to get that bullet and compare the two. If they can prove that the bullet did not come from Kenneth Walker's gun and it came from one of their guns, they need to drop the charges against Kenneth Walker for attempted murder. If anything, it should have been attempted murder on his life, because they came into the wrong house. And I don't know if I said this in the original part or not. They already had the suspect in custody. The person they was looking for was already in custody. They had no reason to come to their house. That's why I kept saying that I think that he had a run-in with them in the past, and that's why they were coming after him. And after what I read up on these three cops, especially the last two in particular, and how shady their past is in the police force and law enforcement, it wouldn't be far-fetched. So, with that being said, if it is true that the bullet came from friendly fire, meaning it came from one of their guns and not Kenneth Walker's, they need to not only release it from jail, they need to drop the charges. By the way, he has a GoFundMe up. I actually posted it up on my community tab. He's already he's way surpassed his goal. I think the goal was like $50,000. It's like more than double that now. To pay for legal fees. If that comes out, they need to drop all the charges. No trial against him. Let him keep the money that was donated and countersue the department. Unfortunately, what that would mean is that goes to trial, or it's some kind of lawsuit there is going to have to come out of the taxpayer's pocket as usual. You know, the department never pays for this type of stuff, even though they were in the wrong, clearly in the wrong. But that's really all I wanted to bring up to you right now. That was just an update. Like I said, and I'm covering myself, this is just something that's speculated. It's something that's being reported. It's not, as far as I know, anything that's confirmed. But it is something that's being reported.